Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from a beautiful Westlake Village, California. It is Tuesday, November 16th, and we do have a lot to talk about here. And what do we have here? Bitcoin taking a bit of a tumble, initiating a downside move, as we did say yesterday, with any kind of a daily closure below 65,000. That would give us a move to the downside, to the bottom side of the range, $60,000 base. And we did get that move. And what do you know? TA works every once in a while. But I would say whether you're bullish or bearish, right now, Bitcoin is in for a bit of a bounce, and then it's going to be a very, very fun next 3 days. The big question, is this a reversal, or is this the next major trap? And so I do want to make sure that you have a very, very happy Tuesday. Stay safe out there. Tell all your friends and neighbors about Bitcoin. Share the wealth of knowledge you have. Subscribe, like, share some content. Anyways, with that in mind, let's look at our underlying market dynamics. Bitcoin dominance. First thing I want to bring up here is, again, identifying this as what we're potentially saying is a macro low. And you can see, going back on the weekly, macro lows coming in right around there at the 40% region, going back to 2018. All right. So that, again, with the bias here that this bounces up and any kind of a daily closure above 44, I'd say that gives us a move back to the top side of the range at 48%. So that's going to play into the bullish outlook for Bitcoin. Now, the fear and greed index ticking down from a 72 to 71 yesterday, I believe. As Bitcoin dumps, people are less greedy. Unfortunately, it works inverse, right? Then you've got open interest at all-time highs. Global leverage ratio just hit a new all-time high today. So again, a big move is incoming, and I would expect that the bulls need to take over this week if they want to stay in control. Now, what are our top 5 best coins? I mean, honestly, today I think everybody's pretty much a loser. 5%, Sandbox now at 5%, 1%. Those aren't crypto gains. What are we doing there? But let's take a look at Bitcoin versus the U.S. dollar. So I'm going to bring up Bitcoin spot price action, Bitcoin versus the U.S. dollar. And again, a couple days ago, we did say if we had any kind of a daily closure below 65,000, it was actually on Friday last week, I said any kind of a day closure below 65,000 should get us a move back down to the bottom side of the range. And we just got that move. So we still have higher lows on the daily, yet this is kind of our maximum pain point. If we do get any kind of a daily closure, now I would say below 59,000 on CME. Let's pull that one up. Yeah, any kind of a daily closure below 59,000 on CME, that's going to not look good. And I do want to bring our attention to all the lower term time frames, including up to a 12-hour. Have now entered into a downtrend, right? So what do we have here? Lower high, lower low on a 12-hour, right? On the 4-hour, right, we got the lower high and the lower low. And again, this is on CME, the chart that has the most weight, the most bearing. And yeah, you can go down further from there. But yeah, lower term time frames are in a downtrend. But again, I would expect some kind of a market bounce right now as U.S. stock market is opening. Why don't we peek in there as it is 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. And what do we have? NASDAQ down, S&P down, and pretty much flat there for the Dow. Yep. NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow all pretty flat today. But what do we have here? So back on to Bitcoin. And I did say we're expecting the bounce to happen as the market opens. And it looks like that's what we're about to get here. But we do have, and I would expect the bounce to happen over the next 24 to 48 hours, as we do have a big event this week. And this is the new Fed chair. It's going to be elected. It's It's going to be picked in a couple of days, and we have the best candidates. On one hand, you have Jerome Powell. He's the stock market economist guy. He is presented as the more reasonable of the two options, and the other is Brainerd, and she is the progressive Democrats pick. And well, let's just say, based off her statements, she would, let's say, turn the money printer on and make it go burr, right? Even more than what we're already doing right now, which would be great for Bitcoin. So that's the narrative, and that's what matters most, is kind of what is the market believing or thinking? How's the market interpret the narrative? So you get Jerome Powell, and then we get more of the same thing, right? Or you get Brainerd, who is probably going to do even more stimulus, which is absolutely insane. Again, either scenario, good for Bitcoin. So I guess we just got to laugh at all this stuff and know, hey, look, God's got a bigger plan. And hey, I own Bitcoin, so I'm not entirely at the mercy of the government and all the crooked bankers. So yes, I do think Bitcoin is in for a bit of a bounce here, somewhere around 62.5 to 63,000. If we can get back above this 0.5 fib retracement here, yeah, coming in, yeah, about 64.4, 65,000. I'd say it's a good setup for a bear trap, and I would say, again, really good for bulls. We can get a 4-hour back above 65,000. And if you look at the hourly, yep, what do we have here? Stokes turning up, hitting the low side of the range. Looks like we're in for a bit of a bounce here on the hourly. The 2 hours, same thing. Although, you know, you see BBWPs at 100% read, so that could go on for some time. We'd likely want to see that if the bounce is going to carry on. So, but I do want to note, we have lost the uptrend in all the lower term and medium term time frames. So what do I mean by that? Anything below a daily is going to be our medium term, 4 hour, 2 hour, 10, 4, and 12. Lower term is 2 hours and lower. That means every price, every candle represents either 12 hours of price action, 10 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, and so on. So we're in a downtrend, right? So what is a downtrend? Lower highs and lower lows. Here's our first lower high on the 12 hour. Here's our first lower low. Good to identify. On the 4 hour, here you can see it was put back in here, first lower high and first lower low, just confirmed on a 4 hour there. 2 hours, we probably put it in around the same time, lower high, lower low. So that's concerning there, but let's take a look at our higher term time frames. So the daily is going to be holding higher lows as long as we can close dailies above 59,000. So that's looking good. 2 day, same thing. 5 day, yeah, I don't really like the 5 day. I would say we need to close the 5 day at least above 61,000. Really, we need to get back above 65,000. So we do have a little, kind of a legitimate setup for some downside, and I'll just throw on this moving averages so you can see. Typically, any kind of closure below the last 5 day low is going to get us a move at least down to the bottom, or to the red 10 simple. So this is going to close in 1 day and 8 hours. So keep in mind, this moving average is going to keep moving up with every closure. Weekly, again, and taking out last week's low usually gives you a move down to the red 10 simple. This does look good enough for a test. Close enough is close enough. So we could be getting a bounce there. And yeah. So, what does this mean for the rest of the market? Again, Bitcoin dominance ticking up. Wrapping it up, Bitcoin, needs to hold above 59,000 on a daily. If Bitcoin starts closing, altcoins are going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but more, right? So bear that in mind. That's wrapping it up for Bitcoin USD. So again, as long as we're holding those dailies above 59,000, we're still making higher lows, and we're assuming the uptrend, and that would mean some more higher highs. moving it on to Ethereum versus US dollar on the daily. And we had another rejection here at 4,800, and this is called a shooting star candle, which is a bearish candle. And as you can see, we got immediate continuation to the downside. So where do we go from here? Taking a look at the 4-hour, very similarly to Bitcoin, it looks like the 4-hour is putting in a bit of a bounce here. But we do have kind of a reversal in progress, right? Lower high, lower lows, lower high, and we did take out that major low right here just now. So I am, again, whether you're bullish or bearish, expecting a bit of a bounce here. But another thing to note, we did have the RSI getting kicked out of the bullish control zone. That's pretty bad. So again, I did say 4,100 needed to hold on the daily, and I am expecting a rather decent sized bounce right now from this region. However, another thing to keep an eye on here on our higher term time frames, I did notice this today. We have, so what's bearish divergence? Price is making higher highs while the RSI is making lower highs. That is the relative strength index. It measures the strength of the moves. So if the strength is waning, right, as price is going higher, essentially the move is running out of gas. And you can see the volume, right? Volume is going down as the price is going up. Buyers are running out of gas. It happens. And RSI. So that typically does set you up for a move down to the red 10 simple, which could be around 3,800. Especially so. If this bounce today fails to get really today, if we fail to get back above, this pivot here at about 4,500, I'm just going to move this line here actually. So if we can't get a 4-hour daily back above 4,500, I am going to expect likely a move lower, especially if Bitcoin does want to play out a dump, which we haven't really got yet. Back onto Bitcoin. This is not a crash. This is not a correction. This is just a little. This is a correction for ants, right? So look at this move here from the top to the bottom so far. That's 15%. What I'm talking about, a correction in Bitcoin is, 30%. So somewhere back down around 50,000 bucks, that would be a correction in Bitcoin land. Similarly to the stock market, a correction is, 10%, 5 to 10% in the stock market. A crash in the stock market, they feel like 30% is a crash, or 20%. So, I do want to remind myself, though, on Ethereum, back onto Ethereum here. Ethereum on our higher term time frames, right, is still looking bullish. I mean, we're testing the red 10 simple. If you look on the bi-weekly and we throw on our Trollinger bands, which are Bollinger bands, trend is in motion when you are closing above this top side Trollinger band. And on the higher term time frames, a monthly, this month we need to close above 4,500. So again, that pivot. The bi-monthly is still above, and the quarterly is still above. So higher term time frames over the next 3 to 6 months, you could say, hey, look, price continuation. And on the weekly trend, our last higher low on a weekly is coming in at 3,000. So I do like that. That macro bullish target still intact as long as we're closing weeklies above, I'd say 3,500. I do like that. So short term, a little bit of a bounce. Medium term consolidation, over the next 3 to 6 months, I still am macro bullish. Real quick, I want to jump on to Solana here. Very impressive chart. And we did say Solana, macro bullish. We got a target coming out of this base right here. Yeah, from wick to wick, that base Next target on Solana 275. I mean, you can just take this up. This thing's systematically going up. Next 375, and then I'd say over the next 3 to 6 months, 475. As long as we're holding that that pivot, I mean, let's see what is weeklies. Last higher low on a weekly, it's back here at 150 bucks. So very likely, it's time to put in a higher low and remain on with the trend. But again, daily invalidation comes below 215. Moving it back to sand. And we did say yesterday that this is very likely to test the bottom side of this ascending triangle. If we can get a daily or a 4-hour closure above 319, the measure move on this is up to $4. Oh, if you could have bought the bottom side of this ascending triangle, congratulations. Invalidation comes back below 228. And then Mana, our last Decentraland metaverse coin that we want to keep an eye on, is picking it up just like sand, its competitor. And you do have, a measure move here, any kind of a 4-hour daily closure above 367. I'm looking for a move back up to 421. But ultimately, I think if we get a daily or a weekly back above 367, I'm looking for this thing to go to $5-6. I think it looks great. And invalidation comes below 250. So that's it for Mana. Hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. Happy trading. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.